you're an elite, then you know what, go ham. You know, if these prices are nothing to you, then that's awesome. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is quite an interesting topic, as you can see by the title. We are talking about Hermes price increase. Basically, as we know, there are price increases going on in the luxury market. Chanel just had one, Louis Vuitton just had one, and I have been following Hermes for quite some time now, probably I'd say at least around about 5 years, but it's only been in the past, say 4 years, that I've really gotten into the brand. And basically, based on my knowledge, I feel as though I can predict the next Hermes price increase. So if this kind of video is what you like, if you love luxury videos and you are new to my channel, then I would appreciate if you would hit that subscribe button below and also the bell so you can be notified when I upload new videos. So I upload on a Wednesday and on a weekend, and that's in US time. I am based in Australia, in Sydney, but I do base my upload schedule on the US time. So enough said, this video isn't exactly planned. So I've got a heap of notes here. I had to write down a ton of stuff to make sure I can give you the most information possible and explain my logic, my theory, which I feel is fairly accurate based on my experience with the brand. But it may seem a little, I'm gonna try and strategically lay it out the best I can, because my notes are kind of all over the place and this video wasn't planned. I just had an epiphany today going, this is actually a really interesting topic that I think that you guys would want to know about. So if you are interested in Hermes, or I know there are a lot of people that are now going, they want to buy Hermes bags because of the price increase that Chanel just had, and we know was a big one. I think the highest price increase was 27%, and that's actually in Australia. The Chanel Square mini flap went up 27%. So there are quite a lot of people going, I want to invest in Hermes. So I think that this is a really interesting topic, and I hope that you guys find it very useful. Let me firstly say, because people are now starting to say they want to get into Hermes because of the Chanel price increase, we have to take into consideration that Hermes bags, we're talking the elusive bags. So I've got my bags here, the 3 elusive, the Constance, the Kelly, and the Birkin. They are not easy to obtain at the boutique. So you can't just say, oh, okay, well, you know, Chanel bags are now so close to the price of a Hermes bag, Birkin, Kelly, Constance, whatever, then I might as well just go that route. Well, if you are looking at buying in the boutique, let me just say that there is always a pre-spending available. I know in Australia, they no longer have the wait list. You do have to spend to get a bag. Maybe overseas when you're traveling, you might get lucky. Like we all know in France, that's the situation where you can score a bag without spending. But look, let's just say from a perspective where we are shopping locally, and our local is, you know, USA, our local is Australia, our local is Japan, whatever, okay? Let's just say from that kind of perspective, you do have to spend to get a bag. So just bear that in mind. There is an overhead cost required to score these bags. So it's really, you really have to love the house and love the other items that they have to go on the chase to get these bags, because otherwise you're just going to be spending money on things that you're not really interested in just to score the bag, which people do, whatever, each to their own. Personally for me, I buy items that I like from the house, and getting the bag is ultimately, like, it's what I want, but it's a bonus as well, because I do like Hermes as a house. I love what they have. I do have some qualms with the house because of the fact that I feel as though, as such a loyal customer, perhaps I should have a bag by now. That's just my personal opinion, and I will talk about that in another Hermes journey video. I'm going to list down below all my Hermes journey videos that I have ever recorded for this channel, and they will be in the order. So I'll put in the description bar, the first video will be the oldest Hermes journey video, then followed by the next one, and so forth. Okay, so do go and watch those videos if you do want to know my sort of history when it comes to boutique shopping. But that's well and said, okay? We will talk a little bit about resale and how pricing kind of will affect that. But I just wanted to say, for those who are saying they want to get into Hermes and whatnot, if you are looking at shopping at the boutique, bear in mind there is an overhead cost, okay? Now let's talk about pricing. We're talking about price history and impending price increase. So in particular for Australia, we have our price increase in January. I understand that for Europe and US, it's between February and March, if I'm not mistaken. It's in there, maybe April. To give a bit of perspective, I'm going to backtrack a few years into the Hermes archives for their kinds of price increases. And let me just say, a lot of this I am basing on purely the Australian market, because that's the market that I have followed the most over these many years. So I feel as though it's best that I baseline the Australian market. So there might be some kind of variation, particularly with the US. I find that with the US, because they are the dominant currency, obviously, as we know in the exchange market, the US is the benchmark currency. So sometimes with the US, it isn't exactly the same as what Australia has as a price increase. So like I said, 27% for the Chanel mini square was the price increase this year that we just had in May. And I know in the US it wasn't exactly 27%. I think it might have been at 25%. So just bear in mind, there is that slight possibility, okay? So 2017, January, like I said, I'm gonna base it on Australian because I feel like that's the best thing to sort of say, but we know that I'm talking about that annual price increase in general. There was about a 2 to 3% price increase. Now, there may not have even been any change in the US pricing. From what I can see, perhaps there wasn't a change, perhaps there was, not 100% sure, but 2 to 3% is a very marginal. When it comes to Hermes, it's a very small increase, to be honest. And if you ask anyone who's an Hermes shopper, when there's only a 2 to 3% increase, we're cheering, okay? Now in 2018, again, there was a 2 to 3% increase. And I actually have here that on my notes, based on the information I was able to find, in 2018, the USA didn't have an increase on their elusive bags. Look, they might have had an increase on one of them and I might not have picked it up, but I'm just saying in general, there wasn't an increase on the elusive 3. Now, let me bring up again, like I said, I do apologize in advance if this video does seem a little bit all over the place. So we've covered 2017, there was a 2 to 3% price increase with Hermes. 2018, 2 to 3% price increase with Hermes, and perhaps the USA didn't have an increase at all in 2018. Now I'm going to refer back to Chanel. In May 2017 and in September 2017, they had 2 price increases, okay? In May 2017, they had a 5% increase on bags in euro currency. And in September 2017, they had a slight decrease on the small flap, up to about 7%. And this is pretty much across the board almost. Some of it might have been less, but there was a decrease on the small classic flap. And then all the other sizes, there was around about a 5% increase. So in a nutshell, in 2017 for Chanel, there was about a 10% increase, okay? That was in the year. Whereas in the US, there was only one increase of 5%, okay? Like I said, the US is a very different kind of market, okay? Now, the reason that I'm bringing this up with Chanel, that they had this 10% increase in 2017, is that usually gives an indication of what you can kind of see happening in the luxury market. So like I said, in 2018, Hermes only had about a 2 to 3% increase, but there was an increase. They didn't do an increase in the USA. Like I said, in Chanel, they didn't do the full 10%. They only did a 5% increase in September, nothing in May. So this is what I'm trying to make a point of here, is that if you look at Chanel price increases, usually Hermes has some kind of trend that it sort of follows. So if Chanel does 2 price increases a year, in May, they didn't do an increase for the USA, but they did do in Europe 5%. You look at Hermes, in general, because they don't always go par for par. So obviously I've said 2 to 3% for an Hermes increase. Chanel's done a 10% increase in the year, only 5% for the US. Hermes has only done that 2 to 3%, and it just, like I said, it's not par for par. And again, I apologize if this video does seem a little bit wishy-washy. It'll make sense, okay? It will make sense. So you kind of get an idea that, okay, all right, Chanel hasn't done a massive price increase in 2017. So when 2018 rolls around for Hermes, they are not going to do a big price increase either. There's going to be marginal, or there may not even be a price increase. Now, hopefully that's made a bit of sense while I've pointed that out. Now I'm going to pull back again to Chanel, and like I said, I'm trying to use Chanel as a kind of point as to how I've picked up the trend when it comes to Hermes and what I've noticed over the many years. In March 2018 with Chanel, they did a 6 to 9% increase across the board, March 2018. In November 2018, Chanel did a 5 to 7% increase, again across the board with their classic handbags. The WOC went up about 19% in November. It was a massive increase, all right? So let's just say for all of 2018, the price increase for Chanel was around about 11% to 16% overall for that year of 2018. Now let's go back over to Hermes. In 2019, Hermes did a massive price increase, and their price increase was 9% to 13% on their handbags. Okay, this is not just the elusive bags, but pretty much all of them. But we are trying to focus on the elusive bags because that's really what people have come here for, to find out. Okay, so 2019 was a massive increase, 9 to 13%. Now, like I said, with Chanel, they did a big increase, 11 to 16%. Hermes did a big increase that 2019, the next year, 9 to 13%. Do you get what I'm trying to say here? Now let's go over to 2020. So we're now in the current year. This year, Hermes, in January, they had a price increase of 2 to 3% on the elusive bags. However, some of their other bags actually went down in price. So from what I noticed, the Lindy 30 went down $300, the Her bag went down $10, Evelyne went down $5 in the PM size, and the Bolide was down $50. In Europe, I know that this didn't happen. There was no decrease. So there pretty much was across the board a 3% price increase in Europe, okay? So 2020, this year, Hermes was quite nice to us. They didn't have a big price increase. However, the previous year, in 2019, they had a big one. And Chanel, in that year prior, in 2018, also had a big one. So as we know, Chanel had a big price increase this year. Massive one. Like in that 20% area is absolutely huge. Huge increase. And we are now only midway through 2020. Chanel may do another price increase towards the end of the year between September and November. They may only be small. But based on what has happened now with that huge 20% price increase, you know, up into the high 17%, I'm pretty much predicting, and I'm pretty confident in this prediction, that Hermes next year will be doing a huge price increase as well, and we'll be looking at this very similar to what happened in 2019, except maybe slightly more. So like I said, 2019 was a 9 to 13% price increase across the elusive bags, and I predict that 2021 will be a 9 to 15% price increase. So we could be looking up to a 15% price increase, and I'm predicting a minimum of a 9% price increase across the elusive bags, and perhaps with the other bags it might not reach 9%. It may very well. I just want to also make a note that Hermes and other luxury brands are fully aware that the big size bags aren't in at the moment. Okay, so you even see with Chanel when they increased their maxi, the maxi jumbo, it was only done by 9%. Okay, so that may very well mean that the increase on the Birkin 35, the Kelly 35, and all those sizes and up will more than likely be definitely less than 15%, and potentially less than 9%, because they're not that desirable at the moment, and the brand is aware of that. So you'll probably find that being the case, that it may not be that 9% increase, or it may. We will see. Only time will tell. This is just me making a kind of prediction. I usually don't tend to do that, but I feel like this, considering what sort of happened in the luxury market, I think that it's fairly valid what I'm saying, and I'm pretty confident in what I'm saying, that there is going to be a big increase next year for Hermes. You know what? And if there's not, then that's great. That's great. Really, I think that that'd be fabulous if there's not, but I'm pretty confident if I were to bet money on it, I'm right, okay? Kelly 32 might not reach that 9%, or it may very well. Kelly 32 is actually probably a commonish sort of size, but like I said, it's those 35s and ups that you may not see that kind of increase, okay? Now, let's talk about the potential pricing for 2021 and why I think that you should actually try and buy your Hermes bag this year. And before I go into the actual pricing, even though I've said, yes, you do have to spend X amount at the boutique in order to score a bag, there is the resale market. But what price increases mean is that it does have a flow-on effect in the resale market as well. However, it's not par for par, okay? So the prices go up at Hermes, okay? And there is a premium on the resale market. So we're talking brand new bags. So let's do a hypothetical right now, okay? So let's talk in this current climate. A Kelly 25 Togo Return currently retails in Australia for $14,305. That's the current retail price in 2020. Kelly 25 Togo Retorn in the resale market currently, brand new, let's go with a really popular color like black. You're probably looking at around about $20,000 Australian for that bag. So there is quite a hefty premium on it. There's a $6,000 premium. Next year, again, this is a hypothetical. Next year, if the price goes up 9% and it goes to $15,590, then the premium price will go up slightly, but it may not go up that full $1,200. It might only go up, say, $500, because the resale market knows that it's already at a premium. Consigners, stores know that they're already selling at a premium, so they can't really push it too much. They can't really go the exact increase. So if the bag goes up $1,000, they can't exactly go up the full $1,000. They tend to etch it down a bit if the price is already at a premium. So we're talking if it's already at a premium pricing. If it's at a pre-loved price, then it will slightly push up the pre-loved pricing. And the pre-loved pricing sometimes has a slight premium on it, and sometimes it doesn't. It really has a lot to do with the colors, and that's something I'll probably talk about in another video anyway. I'll go talk about more detail about how the resale market sort of works, but I'm just trying to say, brand new bag with a premium on it, even if it goes up $1,000 next year, it may not go up $1,000 in the resale market. It may only go up around about 500, 700 Australian dollars. Okay, so you can kind of feel a bit better about the fact that the resale market doesn't really always go par for par. Perhaps there are resellers that do, and it's probably the ones that are from massive kind of consignment stores that really cater to the elite, to the rich people that want to get like their fix of Hermes bags, and they're limited to how many they can get a year, or they're not getting the colors they want. Perhaps those kind of resellers will kind of match the price increase because they have the clientele that will spend. But generally, from what I'm aware of, consignment stores that cater to, you know, elites, but also people that aren't elites and save up to buy the bags, they tend to not really chase that exact pricing, at least from my experience. And I follow more of the Japanese market, like the Asian resale market, Singapore, Malaysia, Japan. That's the kind of market that I tend to follow. So I'm basing it on that. What I see is the trend when it comes to price increases. All right, so I've kind of nutted that out, that you will find that the resale market won't exactly do par for par with the price increase. Okay, now let's talk about potential pricing that we could be looking at for 2021. I'm going to do the Australian pricing first. Some of them I'm not 100% sure of because I don't know the exact pricing that we have in 2020, but based on what the increase was and what I knew it was before, I've kind of got a fairly good estimate, fairly good one. All right, so I know for a fact that currently in Australia, the current price of a Birkin 25 Togo is $13,870. In 2021, if it goes up 9%, the price will be $15,120 if it goes up 9%. Birkin 25 Togo we're talking about here. I'm going to leave on the screen what I'm talking about, so I'm not having to repeat myself too much, so you can follow along, okay? And then if the Birkin 25 Togo is to go up 15% in 2021, next year, the price will be $15,950. All in Australian dollars, the ones that I'm doing first. All right, now the Birkin 30, this is going to be an estimate price. Currently, the Birkin 30 is around about $16,515. If you know the exact price for Australia, please feel free to correct me down below. If it were to go up 9%, the price of a Birkin 30 in Togo will be $18,150. If it goes up 15%, it'll be $19,150. Now the Kelly 25 in Retorn, the current price, $14,305. This is for Togo, because if you watch my leather video, which I will link down below as well, some leathers fetch a higher price than others. The cheapest leather being Epsom. Togo is around about number 2, number 3, okay, in price. And then you've got more expensive leathers like Evercolor, Swift, and whatnot, all right? Okay, so if the Togo Retorn Kelly 25 goes up 9% next year, we are looking at $15,590. If it goes up 15%, we are looking at $16,450. Now the Kelly 25 in Epsom Celia, currently, this is another estimate as well, which I'm fairly confident with, is $15,870. Next year, if it goes up 9%, it will be $17,440. If it goes up 15%, it will be $18,400. Currently, Kelly 28 in Celia Epsom. This is, again, another estimate price, which I'm fairly confident with. Usually the Kelly 28 Celia Epsom follows the price of a Birkin 30. It's very close, like they're pretty much, I know in Australia they're par for par. Some other countries they're not exactly, but in Australia they have been. History has told us. And it's currently $16,515. If it goes up 9%, it'll be $18,150. If it goes up 15%, it'll be $19,150. I don't think they're going to go above 15%, but if they do, holy moly, we're all damned. No, actually, I take that back. Holy moly, the people in the luxury community that have to save up to buy these bags and are not elites are damned. Okay? If you're an elite, then I wish... Do I wish I was you? Maybe, I don't know. But if you're an elite, then you know what? Go ham, you know. If these prices are nothing to you, then that's awesome. You know, I probably wouldn't mind to live a life of pure luxury where I don't have to worry about finances and that sort of stuff. You know, I wouldn't complain. All right, back to the topic. Constance 18 currently in Swift is $12,455. If it were to go up 9%, it will be $13,690 next year. If it goes up 15%, it'll be $14,450. Constance 24 in Epsom, this is another estimate, but I'm fairly confident with, is currently $15,420. If it goes up 9%, it'll be $16,950. If it goes up 15%, it'll be $17,800. Now let's talk about some USD pricing. Like I said, the USD market might not be exactly that it might not reach that 15%. It's probably not. It probably will follow about 1% behind or something like that, because that's usually kind of what happens. It's got a lot to, it's indicative of the US dollar. And you know what, if the market totally crashes and all these currencies crash and whatnot, this estimate could be could be totally off, you know. And you could even see Chanel doing you know, price decreases, who knows. Okay, this is just based on current economic climate and current currency exchange and all that sort of thing. Okay, so the USD, so now we're talking USD. The Kelly 25 in Sombrero Celia, so that's definitely a more expensive leather, is $11,300. If it were to go up 9% next year, it'll be $12,315. If it goes up 15%, it'll be $13,000 USD. Kelly 28 Togo Return is currently $10,200 USD. If it goes up 9%, it'll be $11,120. If it goes up 15%, it'll be $11,730. Now, let me just interject here. The pricing that I'm getting for the USD is actually based on Purseonfleek pricing that I got for their 2020 prices. There is a chance that it might be slightly off. There is a chance, because I know, like I said, with the US, their price increases happen around about March, April. If these prices are before the price increase that happened this year, they could be off. So just bear that in mind. If you know the exact pricing for any of the bags I'm saying, please feel free to put them down below, because there might be some way I can kind of correct myself on the notes on the screen or something like that, okay? Now let's go back to where we were. Kelly 28 in Epsom Celia is currently $10,700 USD. If it goes up 9%, it'll be $11,660. If it goes up 15%, it'll be $12,300. Birkin, so the Birkin 25 Togo is currently $9,650 USD. If it goes up 9%, it's going to be $10,515. If it goes up 15%, it's going to be $11,095. The Birkin 30 Togo is currently $10,900 USD. If it goes up 9% next year, it's going to be $11,880. If it goes up 15%, it's going to be $12,535. So that's all the pricing that I have. So I have Australian dollars and then USD. I didn't have enough accurate information on euro because the year is still fairly young for 2020 and not a lot of the prices have actually been put down. But like I said, I'm still very confident based on what Chanel has done that Hermes will be doing a big price increase next year. If something happens in the market, if you see Chanel doing a decrease in the next price increase that they usually have 2 a year, then that's going to be indicative that Hermes is not going to do a big price increase. So pretty much, let's just keep an eye on Chanel. But based on currently, I am confident with what I'm saying. So I'm pretty much saying, if you can save up to get if you're wanting to get one of these elusive bags, the Constance, the Kelly, the Birkin, and you're in a position to save up for it, I would suggest to try and get it this year, because even though, yes, the prices are going to go up in the boutique, and like I said, there is an overhead cost associated with trying to score a bag in the boutique, unless you happen to be lucky to score in France. But who knows what's going to happen with travel restrictions? Who knows with that sort of thing? But if you're happy to go and buy, like, you know, pre-loved and in resale market brand new, you would be far better off to go try and buy it this year, because if they do a massive price increase, it is going to push up the pricing in pre-loved and resale. Not exactly the same way that it pushes up pricing in the actual boutique when you buy these bags, but there is still going to be some push up because there's a big price increase. It's massive. 9 to 15% is going to definitely push up pricing in that pre-loved, you know, reseller market. So hopefully this information was helpful. Hopefully I wasn't too all over the place. I know that this video is probably longish, but I think I pretty much covered everything in a nutshell. I'm telling you guys, if you really want one of these bags, and if you're in a position to save up for it, even if you want to sell some, say you really want one of these bags and you've got bags that you're not using, you know, like me, I've said this many times on this channel, if I don't love a bag anymore and I'm finding myself not using it, I'll sell it. I'll just let it go. Honestly, I'm actually thinking about letting go my niece mini. I really like it. Like, I do. It's funny because I do really like the bag. I think it's super cute, but I'm not actually reaching for it. So I'm thinking about it. Am I going to let it go yet? No, because I'm just going to wait a little bit longer and see. I feel as though with everything that's going on, I'm not really giving the bag a fair chance, even though I haven't reached for it for a long time. The bag's not really getting a fair go anyway, given the current climate that we're not really going about. There's like kind of restrictions and that sort of thing, lockdowns and whatnot. So if you are, you know, if you've got a lot of bags that you're just not using, or you've got, you know, luxury things that you're not using, and you really want to get one of these elusive bags, maybe you now is the time to consider letting them go. So you can fund getting one of these bags before the massive price increase happens. I know that I am definitely going to try my hardest to save and try and get another one of these bags this year. I would love for it to come from the boutique, but any bet with my luck, it'll come next year after the price increase. And I don't know, with that pricing, yeah, it would have to be a perfect spec, to be honest. Which is a real shame because I've already spent like a decent amount of money at the boutique. So I've definitely spent, you know, what sort of, you know, you're pre-spending. I've sort of pretty much reached that point, in my opinion. Maybe not for my boutique in Sydney because I have some stiff competition, no doubt about it. But yeah, that's just, that's all I have to say. I'm going to try and save for another Hermes bag. I just added that one. That was my push present. And let's see if I can try and get another one. Even if it's like a pre-loved bag, you know. Like vintage does get pushed up as well. Obviously, that's why pricing goes up. It does get pushed up somewhat, but usually not as much as pre-loved that's, say, within 6 years old. That tends to get pushed up. The older the bag is, the price can sort of stay somewhat stagnant. It does creep up, but it's just not as drastic. It would have to be many years that you start to see that real kind of like sort of increase sort of happening. So yeah, okay, I think I've said enough. If you have any questions, put them down below. DM me on Instagram. Let's get a conversation happening. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Do you think my predictions are right? Do you know the exact pricing of some of the bags that I've kind of done an estimate on? If you can clarify that, then that'd be awesome. But yes, thank you guys very much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.